Tonight we're going to descend into a very specific kind of nightmare, the kind you actually wish for, right up until the moment it comes true. This is our deep dive into the chilling world of Babyface and the Killer Mob. Come on, think back. Remember that feeling? Of being powerless? Of always being told what to do, when to talk, where to sit? That burning desire to just be a grown-up already, to be respected, to finally be in charge? Well, for a young boy named Joey, that wasn't just some fantasy. He got exactly what he wanted. And in doing so, he stepped right into a darkness that threatened to swallow him whole. Let's explore how that dream became an absolute nightmare. So let's start at the beginning. We begin with a dream. A dream that honestly, so many kids have, but this one gets twisted into something far more dangerous. The book we're looking at is Babyface and the Killer Mob by M.D. Spenser. It's from 1996, and it's book number 20 in the Shivers series. It's juvenile horror, aimed at kids between 8 and 12, which is kind of the perfect audience for a story that digs into that terrifying gap between fantasy and cold, hard reality. And this quote right here, it gets right to the heart of it all. See, Joey isn't just impatient, he is desperate. He looks at the gangsters in his neighborhood, and he doesn't see criminals. No, he sees powerful guys who get respect. He wants to trade in his embarrassing Babyface nickname for that power, and he is completely blind to the price tag that comes with it. Okay, now we get to the turning point. This is the exact moment where the dream starts to curdle, and the story really begins its descent into chaos. And just like that, he gets his wish. The Killer Mob, the very gang he idolized, they pull him in. But, the reality isn't what he thought. It's not cool guys just standing on a corner. It is a violent, terrifying whirlwind, and Joey is swept right into the middle of it. The glamour he dreamed of is immediately replaced by raw, genuine fear. This is the wake-up call. The gunfight, it's not a scene from a movie. It is loud, it's chaotic, and it's lethal. The bullets are real, the danger is absolutely real. The power he wanted so badly, it turns out it's not about respect. It's about life and death. This is the moment his entire fantasy just shatters under the weight of a terrifying, brutal reality. And here we have it, the psychological core of the story. After facing death, Joey doesn't want power anymore. He wants safety. He wants to go home. He literally screams that he wants to be a normal kid again, finally understanding that the childhood he hated was actually a shield, a protection he desperately needs back. So this is the ultimate lesson from his terrifying journey. Joey's story completely reframes what childhood is. It's not a prison you need to escape from, it's a sanctuary, a place to grow safely. He had to walk right through the fire of his own wish to realize the immense value of what he was so eager to leave behind. So what does this whole descent into a nightmare really teach us? Let's break down the core takeaway from this pretty intense cautionary tale. The main idea here is really powerful. Joey's story shows that just fantasizing about the next stage of your life, it creates way more problems than it solves. Real strength, real maturity, that comes from mastering your present. And all those rules and limitations we hate, turns out they often exist for our own protection. And you know what? We can break this lesson down into 3 simple, actionable steps. First, do a little audit of your own life. What are you trying to rush past? Second, hit the reset button on your appreciation. What's just one good thing about where you are right now? And third, instead of wishing for these huge leaps, find small, controlled challenges to build some real confidence right where you stand. But how well does the book actually deliver this message? Let's take a look at it a bit more critically. So the book's strengths are pretty significant. The way it shows Joey's frustration feels really authentic and relatable. The suspense, especially during that gunfight, is genuinely effective for its audience. And most importantly, the final lesson feels earned. He goes through something truly terrifying. On the other hand, well, the gang's name, the Killer Mob, is a little cartoonish, right? The plot is very straightforward, and the other gang members are kind of one-dimensional. So, after weighing the good against the bad, what's our final assessment? Where do we land? The final grade for Babyface and the Killer Mob is a 6.8 out of 10, a solid score, but let's break down why it gets that number. Okay, so that score is heavily boosted by its very high impact potential, an 8 out of 10. For its target audience of young readers, this book's message could actually be life-changing. It also gets a 7.5 in practical application because that lesson about appreciating where you are in life is something anyone can use. So, while things like the simple writing style and lack of deep research bring the overall score down a bit, its core function as a powerful cautionary tale makes it incredibly effective. So, at the end of the day, the book totally succeeds at what it sets out to do. It takes a kid's dangerous fantasy and turns it into a hard-won appreciation for the safety of childhood. It's a valuable story, and it's delivered with real suspense and psychological truth. Now, if the themes in this whole harrowing journey resonated with you, I've got a couple of other books you might want to check out. Both of my recommendations actually come from the same author, Louis Sachar. First, There's a Boy in the Girls' Bathroom also dives really deep into a child's struggle with identity and learning to accept themselves. And then there's Holes, which is another brilliant story where bad choices lead to very real consequences, forcing the main character to learn some valuable, life-altering lessons. And that brings us to our final thought for you. We all had them, right? Those fantasies of being older, more powerful, more free. So what was the one grown-up dream you had that, in reality, taught you the most profound lesson about where you actually were? If you want to dive into more stories like this one, make sure you follow and subscribe. And definitely let us know in the comments, what cautionary tales should we break down for you next? We'll see you then.